If you quiet yourself, truly quiet yourself, not just in body, but in mind and thought and expectation, you'll begin to feel it. A pulse, a presence, not outside you, but within. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, and yet it holds the entire cosmos in its whisper. It is what you are. It is what you have always been. You are not a mistake, not a random flicker of biology, not an accident of cells and circumstance. You are a divine creation of an intelligent universe. Look at the stars, not as distant strangers, but as family. They are made of the same elements that dance in your bones. The hydrogen in your breath, the carbon in your blood, the iron in your will, born in the womb of stars that lived and died eons before your name was spoken. This universe did not stumble into you. It conspired for billions of years to make you possible. Not just as a body, not just as a name, but as a soul, a spark, a knowing. And yet, how easily we forget. How often we shrink into our egos, wear the mask of insufficiency, and carry the burden of pretending to be someone smaller than the truth of our being. We believe we are our worries. We believe we are our pain. We believe we are the stories we were told as children. But the soul knows better. You are not here to chase approval. You are not here to seek permission. You are here to remember, to awaken, to rise into what has always been yours, the truth of your divinity, the presence of your source. This source is not above you or outside you. It is not found in a distant temple or locked inside a dogma. It is in the breath you just took. It is in the silence between your thoughts. It is the I am behind every I am not enough. You see, the moment you say, I am not, you deny the very essence of what the universe created you to be. Because the universe never made a mistake. It made you. It made you not to live in fear, but in wonder. Not to shrink in shame, but to expand in light. Not to repeat the pain of the past, but to redeem it with the power of presence. Every leaf, every tide, every sunrise and starry sky is a reminder that the intelligence that governs it all is the same intelligence that lives in you. And it does live in you. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to seek it. You don't even have to understand it. You only have to remember what it feels like to be still, to breathe without rushing, to walk without destination, to feel without defense. This is the sacred return. The return to the soul, the return to the knowing that you are not separate. You are not broken. You are not late. You are not lost. You are unfolding exactly as the stars unfold, in divine rhythm, in perfect timing. And when the world tries to tell you otherwise, when it says you are only what you produce, only what you look like, only what you've achieved, you must become the sacred rebel. You must say no, not with anger, but with grace, with the deep, unwavering grace of someone who has remembered who they are. You are not your thoughts. You are not your past. You are not your doubt. You are not your ego. You are consciousness wrapped in form. You are love, remembering itself. You are the breath of the divine, walking the earth in human skin. And this life, this temporary experience, is not a test to be passed, but a miracle to be witnessed. It's not about getting somewhere. It's about becoming aware of where you already are. You are already in the presence of God, not because you found him, but because you never left. And so you arrive in this moment, not by accident, not by force, but by the quiet pull of something sacred guiding you gently home. Not home in the way the world defines it, with bricks or addresses or familiar names, but home in the soul. Home in that eternal center of being where no storm can reach, where no title is needed and no validation required. It is the place where you no longer strive to become anything because you remember that you already are everything. This remembering is not taught by textbooks, nor can it be memorized in the traditional sense. It is the awakening of a truth that never needed proving, only uncovering. Like a seed doesn't learn to grow, it simply surrenders to the light. So too must we. Not strive, but surrender. Not resist, but allow. Not control, but trust. You are a divine creation, not because of what you've done, but because of what you are. And what you are cannot be undone by fear, cannot be erased by failure, cannot be dimmed by the opinions of the world. The stars do not apologize for shining too brightly. The ocean does not hold back its tides out of modesty. Why then should you silence your light? to fit into shadows you've outgrown. Every time you diminish your worth, you're arguing with the universe that made you. And the universe, this intelligent, infinite field of divine consciousness, it does not argue back. It simply continues to offer you love, unconditionally, even when you forget, even when you stumble, even when you fall asleep to your sacredness. The universe stays awake, holding you in the warmth of eternal yes. There is no condition to your belonging. There is no contract to your divinity. You don't need to achieve enlightenment. You are enlightenment, covered over by layers of forgetting. Let go now. Let go of the need to be understood by those who cannot yet see. Let go of the addiction to proving your value. Let go of the story that says you are not worthy of joy, as if joy were something earned and not the natural fragrance of your being. Healing begins the moment you stop chasing a version of yourself that was never real. The moment you say, I no longer need to become, I choose to return. Return to the stillness beneath the noise. Return to the breath that rises without your permission. Return to the self that was never lost, only hidden beneath layers of fear, guilt, and doubt. And when you return, truly return, you begin to see differently. You begin to speak differently. You begin to live differently. Not with force, but with grace. Not with performance, but with presence. Not with desperation, but with sacred trust. Because what you radiate from within is far more powerful than anything you could ever acquire from outside. Peace is not the result of fixing the world around you. It is the fruit of remembering the world within you. The ego will try to convince you otherwise. It will whisper of scarcity, of comparison, of fear. It will tell you there's not enough time, love, attention, meaning, but your soul knows better. Your soul speaks in abundance, in generosity, in quiet knowing. Your soul doesn't race, it expands. It doesn't fight, it allows. It doesn't grasp, it trusts. So listen, not with your ears, but with your being. There is wisdom rising in you like morning light over still water. Soft, clear, undeniable. It says, you are not broken. You are becoming. You are not late. You are right on time. You are not forgotten. You are the breath of God remembering itself. And when you live from that place, when you begin to identify not with the mass, but with the essence, then all the striving begins to soften. Then the need to prove dissolves into the joy of simply being. You stop trying to earn what you've already been given. You begin to serve, not to be seen, but because you see. You love not to be loved, but because you are love. And suddenly the universe does not feel distant. It feels familiar. It feels like home. It feels like you. And in that sacred realization, something within you begins to shift, not as a sudden eruption, but as a gentle unfolding. The petals of your awareness bloom one by one, revealing the eternal truth that was always there, waiting for your readiness, not your worthiness, because you have always been worthy. Not because of what you've done, but because of what you are, an extension of the infinite, wrapped in skin, gifted with breath, invited to remember. There is a divine choreography to your life, a rhythm beneath the noise, a song beneath the silence. The people you've met, the pain you've endured, the detours, the delays, the heartbreaks, and even the breakdowns, none of them were punishments. They were callings, whispers from the soul saying, wake up, there is more. More than survival, more than pleasing, more than the shallow waters of pretending to be okay. You came here to dive deep into truth, into light, into freedom. But freedom is not found in the outer world. It is not dependent on circumstances aligning with your preferences. True freedom begins the moment you stop believing every thought the ego feeds you. It begins when you realize that you are not the one who suffers. You are the one who notices the suffering. You are not the pain. You are the space in which pain appears and through which healing can flow. And when you allow yourself to become still enough, you begin to feel that space expanding inside you. It's the space where love enters, not the conditional love you've been taught to chase, the kind that arrives only if you perform, conform, or transform. No, this love does not require shape-shifting. It requires surrender. It is the love that says, you were enough even before you tried. And in that love, shame cannot live. Judgment melts, the past loses its grip. because this love doesn't negotiate. It doesn't audit your worth. It simply shines. You are here to shine that same light, not as a copy, not as an imitation, but as your own sacred expression of the divine whole. You are a unique breath in the lungs of the cosmos. You are not here to be someone else's version of success. You are here to be your soul's original note in the great symphony of existence. And when you express that note, when you live in alignment with your soul rather than your ego, the world changes. Not because you force it to, but because you've become the presence that no longer resists, no longer clings, no longer hides. You become a lighthouse. You no longer chase ships, you simply shine. And people will feel it. They may not know what it is, but they will feel safer in your presence. Not because you have answers, but because you're no longer pretending. You're no longer at war with yourself. And that peace is contagious. You were not meant to live in hiding. You were meant to remember. You were meant to rise. You were meant to release the illusion of separation and rest in the knowing that you are the universe experiencing itself through a single sacred lifetime. Not everyone will understand your awakening. Not everyone is meant to, but that does not mean you are wrong. It means you are listening to a frequency that others have not yet tuned into. Stay with it. Stay true. Trust the rhythm of your own becoming. And as you continue to awaken, not through effort, but through presence, you begin to see life not as something happening to you, but something happening through you. You are not a passive recipient of fate. You are a co-creator of reality, not in some grand mystical performance, but in every choice you make from love instead of fear. Every moment you listen instead of react. Every breath you take consciously rather than by habit. These small sacred acts realign you with the intelligent rhythm of the universe itself. For this universe, this boundless field of intelligence does not demand worship. It does not crave obedience. It asks only that you remember your role in the great unfolding, not as a servant, but as a spark, not as a prisoner of fate, but as a partner in creation. You are not here to obey an outside authority, but to honor the divine authority within, that whisper inside, the one that nudges you to pause when the world shouts, the one that stirs tears when truth is spoken, the one that urges you toward kindness when revenge tempts you. That voice is not your conscience. It is your connection, your channel to something far greater than logic can grasp. You do not need to climb any ladder to reach the divine. There is no ladder. There is only awareness. The veil between you and God is not time, it is thought. The belief that you are separate, unworthy, unready, that is the illusion. And once you see through it, once you pierce that veil, you find not a distant deity, but the gentle pulse of eternity living within your own breath. And from that sacred space, you begin to live differently. Not to impress, not to prove, but because love becomes your default setting. Compassion becomes your compass. Stillness becomes your strength. You begin to speak not to be right, but to be real. You listen not to respond, but to understand. You walk into each moment not needing to control it, but willing to meet it fully, vulnerably, authentically. This is freedom, not the freedom of doing anything you want, but the freedom of no longer being ruled by everything you fear. The freedom of no longer being a puppet of your past, no longer living through the eyes of others. This is the freedom of a soul unbound. And a soul unbound is the most powerful force on earth. Do not underestimate the radiance of someone who has remembered who they are. They walk lighter. They love deeper. They forgive faster. They move through life not as warriors, but as channels of peace, not because they are above pain, but because they have made peace with it. And when you make peace with your pain, you become a healer by presence alone. You don't need to fix people. You simply need to see them, truly see them, through the eyes of your soul, not the judgments of your mind. That is how transformation happens. Not with force, but with light. Light that sees, light that accepts, light that reminds. So let yourself be a reminder today, not by what you say, but by what you are. Be a living invitation for others to awaken, not by preaching, but by being, not by changing anyone, but by changing the way you meet the world. Let your presence say what words cannot. Let your peace speak louder than your opinion. Let your stillness echo beyond the noise. Let your joy be your proof. You don't need to convince anyone of your divinity. Just live it, and the world will feel it. Because when even one soul remembers, the whole universe breathes a little deeper. And as the breath deepens and the heart softens, you begin to witness the quiet miracle of existence with new eyes. Not the eyes taught to evaluate and compare, but the eyes of presence, those sacred lenses that see the divine in the ordinary. A leaf trembling in the wind becomes scripture. A stranger's smile becomes revelation. Your own heartbeat becomes a drumbeat of cosmic intelligence, reminding you again and again, you belong. You are held. You are enough. There is no need to hurry towards some imagined state of arrival. The soul does not measure life in milestones or achievements. It unfolds in presence. It speaks in moments. It awakens not when you have mastered the world, but when you have surrendered to the mystery of being alive. And in that surrender, you begin to understand that healing is not a destination. It is a return to the innocence you never lost, to the worth you never had to earn, to the light that never stopped shining beneath your wounds. Even your pain, even your trauma, even the shadows you've tried so hard to escape, they have served you. They have carved space inside you to hold more compassion, more humility, more light. Forgive them, not because they were right, not because you're weak, but because you're done carrying what was never yours to hold. Resentment is too heavy for a soul built to fly. Bitterness is too dense for a being of light. So release. Release the stories of not being chosen. Release the narratives of not being good enough. Release the belief that your past defines your worth. You are not what happened to you. You are what rose from it. You are the awareness that watched the pain, not the pain itself. And once you realize that, once you live from that truth, you become unshakable, not because life stops throwing storms, but because you no longer fear getting wet. You no longer mistake the thunder for truth. You no longer run from rain that was meant to cleanse you. In this intelligent universe, nothing is wasted. Not a tear, not a failure, not a single detour. Every experience is a thread in the tapestry of your awakening. Every contrast is a mirror showing you more of what you truly are. Every closed door is a compass redirecting you back to your soul's alignment. And that alignment is not rigid. It is fluid, like water. It flows around obstacles. It carves through resistance. It finds its way not by force, but by the certainty of its nature. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to trust the flow. Not the chaotic flow of the world, but the sacred flow of the Spirit within you. It knows. It always has. Even when you doubted, even when you wandered, even when you forgot, because forgetting is part of remembering. The fall is part of the rising. The silence is part of the song. And darkness, it is not the opposite of light. It is the womb in which light is born. You are being born again, not in body, but in awareness. And every time you return to the now, to the breath, to the truth of your being, you are reborn. A little softer, a little wiser, a little more you. There is a sacred intelligence flowing through all things seen and unseen, known and unknown, and you are not separate from it. You are not an outsider looking in. You are not a visitor to this miracle. You are the miracle. You are the breath of that intelligence, made visible, made tangible, made conscious. And when you remember that, truly remember, you walk differently in the world. You walk not in fear, but in faith. Not in reaction, but in response. Not in scarcity, but in the quiet power of knowing you are always supported, always guided, always enough. The mind may protest, of course it always does. It will raise its voice in the language of logic, demanding proof and outcomes and plans, but the soul doesn't speak in that tongue. The soul speaks in feeling, in presence, in intuition. And the more you listen, the more you'll notice how much life opens when you stop needing to control it. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is strength in its purest form. It is the strength of water that wears down stone. It is the strength of silence that outlasts the loudest noise. You don't have to force your healing. You don't have to demand transformation. You only have to be willing to look within, willing to let go of who you were taught to be so that you can remember who you've always been. You are not here to earn love. You are here to realize it. You are not here to escape your humanness. You are here to embrace it as the holy vessel, for your divine essence. The two are not in conflict. They are dance partners, earth and sky, breath and stillness, form and formlessness. Let yourself be danced. Let yourself be moved by something older than thought and deeper than language. You don't need to know every step. You only need to remain open. The universe delights in your openness. It rushes into every space you clear with a generosity you cannot imagine. But it waits. It never forces. It only flows where it is welcomed. So welcome it. Invite it into the cracks, into the questions, into the ordinary rhythms of your day. That is where the sacred lives, in the smallest things, the simplest moments, the quietest breaths. You were not sent here to build a kingdom of noise. You were sent here to remember the silence beneath it all. That silence is not empty. It is full of wisdom, full of light, full of the very intelligence that formed galaxies and flowers, and you sit with it. Let it speak to you not in words, but in a knowing that settles in your chest like peace, like coming home, like, ah, yes, I remember now. And when you do remember, the ego begins to soften. It doesn't disappear overnight. It doesn't vanish in a flash of enlightenment, but it loosens its grip. It becomes quieter, less convincing. And in that space, your true nature emerges not as a role, not as a mask, but as pure presence, as love without armor, as clarity without opinion, as being without needing to become. There is nothing more powerful than a human being who remembers they are not just a human being. There is no force more radiant than a soul at peace with its form. That is what the world needs now. Not more noise, not more speed, not more striving, but more remembrance. More individuals who walk in stillness, who speak from truth, who live with gentleness, who embody their divine nature not through performance, but through presence. You don't need a title to be sacred. You don't need a stage to be radiant. Your life is the altar. Your breath is the prayer. Your presence is the offering. And when you offer it sincerely, life responds. Not always in the way your mind expects, but always in the way your soul needs. Trust that. Trust the delays. Trust the detours. Trust even the endings, for they are often disguised beginnings. And above all, trust yourself. Not the self built on achievement or identity, but the deeper self, the quiet watcher, the steady presence, the eternal essence. That self has never been afraid. That self has never been broken. That self does not worry about outcomes, because it is the outcome. It is the goal and the journey and the guide. There are no accidents in an intelligent universe. No lost moments, no wasted days. Everything is part of the masterpiece, even the messy strokes, even the unfinished edges. Even the times you thought you failed, you never failed, you felt. And feeling is the fingerprint of the soul on the canvas of life. Keep painting, keep feeling. Keep trusting that what's unfolding through you is wholly beyond description. There is a light in you that cannot be dimmed, not by heartbreak, not by loss, not by time. It is the same light that birthed the stars and holds the tides. And it lives within you, waiting not to be earned, but to be remembered. So remember, not once, not twice, but again and again, as often as the world tempts you to forget. Let your life be a living act of remembrance. Let your breath remind the body of its belonging. Let your presence awaken others, not through noise, but through peace. And when you forget, because you will come back, just come back. With tenderness, with curiosity, with no judgment. Every return is a resurrection. Every breath is a new beginning. Every moment is the invitation to remember what has always been true. You are not separate from the source. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are it. You are the divine, dreaming itself into form, waking up to its own reflection, your eyes, your hands, your heart. This is the truth. It does not need convincing. It only needs remembering. And now, you remember?
Everything begins within before the mansion is built, before the wealth is accumulated. Before the success is broadcasted to the world, it is first imagined. Imagination is not a passive daydream. It is a creative act. It is the divine faculty through which we mold our world to feel like a millionaire before the 1,000 arrive. You must train yourself to imagine differently, deliberately, and persistently. You are not waiting for life to hand you riches. You are commanding reality to express your inner convictions. What you consistently imagine yourself to be, you become not, because imagination is wishful thinking, but because it is the cause of all outward expression. The world you see is not separate from your consciousness. It is shaped by it, colored by it, and projected by it. When you consistently hold the image of yourself as wealthy, successful, and free, you are not pretending you are creating, you are rewriting the unseen blueprint that governs the events of your life. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You are aligning yourself with the deeper truth, a higher identity, one that already exists within you. The problem is not that people imagine too much, but that they imagine the wrong things. They see debt, so they feel poor. They see struggle, so they assume lack. But the senses only confirm the past. Imagination reveals the future. To truly be wealthy, you must ignore the evidence of the senses and become loyal to your inner vision. This is not denial. It is mastery. It is the secret the world overlooks. Let your imagination become your sanctuary. Visit it often, sit in silence, and ask yourself, what would my life look like if I were already a millionaire? Do not answer with logic. Feel it. Experience it in full color. Walk through your dream home. Sit in the comfort of your favorite chair. See your bank balance reflecting abundance. Hear the words of admiration spoken about you. Feel the security, the power, the joy of having more than enough. This practice is not to get rich in the tradition, since it is to become inwardly rich now. It is to enter the state where money is not something you chase. It is something that flows to you as a natural response to your consciousness. The outer world will catch up, but only if you do not waver. Return daily to your inner sanctuary. Build the habit of seeing yourself as wealthy. Do not do it to impress the world. Do it to awaken the truth within you. Wealth is not something you achieve. It is something you express, and expression begins in imagination. The world will follow your lead when you lead from within. Imagination is not the escape from reality. It is the foundation of it. Dare to imagine boldly, and reality must conform. This is the true power hidden in plain sight. Your imagination is the gateway to reality. The key to transformation is not effort, but identification. You must stop reaching for your desires as if they are somewhere far away. Instead, bring them into the present by assuming they are already yours. Do not wait for the millions to feel abundant. Feel abundant now, and the millions will have no choice but to show up. Living in the end means occupying the state of your fulfilled desire mentally, emotionally, spiritually, before there is any evidence in the physical world. It means thinking from your goal, not about your goal. You do not try to become wealthy, you become it in consciousness. You no longer ask, when will it happen? You begin to live as if it has already happened. This is not pretending it is creating. You are not faking anything. You are faithfully inhabiting a reality that already exists on a higher level. Your job is not to force it into existence, but to assume the position of one who already possesses it. Ask yourself daily, if I were already a millionaire, how would I think, speak, move, and feel? What decisions would I make? What would I no longer worry about? What would I expect? Living in the end requires that you allow these answers to shape your behavior right now, not someday in the future. Your inner world must reflect the truth of your fulfilled desire, even when the outer world has not yet caught up. Living in the end is an act of radical faith. It is choosing to prioritize your inner conviction over external conditions. And here is the paradox. Once you truly live in the end, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match your new identity. The world cannot help but yield to your dominant state of being. This state must become natural. It should feel so real to you that you no longer question it. You no longer hope for wealth. You move through your day with the confidence of someone who already has it. You no longer seek signs. You are the sign. The world reflects who you are being, not what you are wanting. When doubts arise, and they will, do not fight them. Simply return to the state. Enter the end in your imagination. See it. Feel it. Dwell in it. Let it soothe you and guide you. Let the feeling of the wish fulfilled be your resting place. When this becomes your default state, life begins to bend around your new identity. Understand this. Your desire was not given to torment you. It was given to awaken you. It is a seed from a higher realm, and it comes complete with all that is required for its fulfillment. But you must nourish it by living as though it is already so. So today, make the decision. Stop postponing your wealth. Step into the feeling of already being that which you desire. Don't wait for the end. Live in the end. And from that place, all things are not only possible, they are inevitable. Wealth is not a number in a bank account. It is a state of being. It is not something you acquire. It is something you embody when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfill. You no longer act as someone who is striving for success. You become the person who already possesses it, and in the becoming, the outer world must rearrange itself to mirror your inner transformation. Your emotional state is creative. It sends out a silent signal to the universe, and that signal is always being answered when you feel poor, needy, or lacking. Even if you mask it with positive words, you are still declaring, "I do not have," and the world echoes back that truth. But when you feel rich, secure, and abundant, regardless of your current circumstances, you are broadcasting a new signal, one that commands reality to follow. Assumption is not about effort or force. It is about surrendering into the truth of the desired state. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled means to dwell in the emotional atmosphere of already having what you desire. It is feeling as though your desire has already been realized, and living from that conviction. You don't wait for evidence to feel differently. You feel differently first, and then the evidence appears. This is the great reversal that most never understand. The world teaches you to react, but creation demands that you lead. You must feel the result before the result can show itself. Feel rich now, and the world must catch up. Imagine what it would feel like if money were no longer a concern. Let that feeling rise in your body. Would you feel relieved, grateful, free? Would you walk differently, speak with more certainty, sleep more peacefully? That feeling is the key. It is not fantasy, it is the blueprint. You must move into that state, occupy it fully, and let it become familiar. And here's the beautiful secret. You can do this now. No one can stop you from entering the state of wealth in your mind. You don't need permission. You don't need the current balance in your bank account to change. You need only to accept emotionally and mentally that you are what you desire to be. When the feeling becomes natural, the world responds. It may not happen instantly, but it must happen. The laws of creation are exact. Persist in the assumption and do not let temporary appearances shake your inner conviction. The longer you remain in the state, the more inevitable its expression becomes. So practice this daily. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and step into the version of you who is already rich. Not tomorrow, not later now. Feel the warmth of abundance, the confidence, the calm power of wealth. Let it clothe your mind. Let it become who you are. You are not chasing wealth. You are revealing it. The treasure is already within. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and your world will reshape itself in perfect harmony with the truth. You now dare to feel one of the greatest obstacles to manifestation is the mind's insistence on controlling the past. It wants to know how everything will happen, when it will arrive, and through whom. But that need to micromanage life is what keeps your desire at arm's length. The truth is, the path to $1,000 is not your concern. It is not your job to figure out how abundance will reach you. Your only responsibility is to remain loyal to the state of already being wealthy. Desire does not come alone. It carries with it the means of its own fulfillment. The moment you truly desire something and assume it has already done, the unseen begins to move, and visible currents shift people, opportunities, and events begin to align. But these movements happen beyond your line of sight. You may not see the orchestration, but it is happening nonetheless. When you constantly ask how, you are declaring that you do not trust the process. You are telling the universe, "I do not believe this can happen unless I control every step." And so you block the flow, you introduce doubt, tension, and fear. You step out of the end state and into the waiting state. And in doing so, you delay your own manifestation. Eventually, detachment from the how is not indifference, it is wisdom. It is knowing that your imagination is the seed, and your assumption is the soil. Once planted, your only job is to remain faithful to what you've created within. You do not dig up the seed to check if it's growing. You water it with confidence. You nourish it with repetition. You protect it from dour. Faith is demonstrated by rest. If you truly believed you were already wealthy, you wouldn't worry about the mechanics. You wouldn't obsess over the next step. You would trust that all things are working for your good, even if you cannot yet see how. No. You would move with quite certainty. You would live your life with a calm assurance that what you've imagined is already on its way. Miracles often arrive through the most ordinary channels. You may receive a phone call, a job offer, a new connection, or even a seemingly random idea. But these are not accidents. They are the result of your inner state. Do not try to predict how it will unfold. Simply remain in the feeling of being wealthy now, and allow the path to reveal itself in its own time and form. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the need to plan every detail. Let go of the urge to doubt when things seem still. Trust that the stillness is not stagnation. It is preparation. The invisible is organizing on your behalf. Doors will open, and you will know which one to walk through when the moment comes. Stay loyal to the end. That is your only task. Feel it, live it, believe it. The how will take care of itself. Life is not asking you to control it, only to align with it. Detach from the how, and you will witness the impossible become inevitable. Words are not just sounds. There are declarations of identity. Every time you speak, whether aloud or silently in your mind, you are casting a vote for the version of yourself you believe in. If you want to experience the life of a millionaire, you must begin to speak from that reality. Not about it as a distant goal, but from it as a present truth. There is a powerful difference between saying one day I'll be rich and saying I am wealthy now. The former places your desire in the future, always just out of reach. The latter anchors it in the present, where creation actually occurs. You are not trying to become something, you are affirming that you already are. This is where most people go wrong. They speak about what they want, complain about what they don't have, and talk about lack as if it were unchangeable. They beg, wish, and hope, not realizing that these postures only reinforce their current state. But to truly shift your reality, you must speak from the place you wish to occupy. You must claim it in thought, word, and feeling. Imagine the inner dialogue of someone who already possesses great wealth. Would they worry about bills? Would they obsess over price tags? Would they speak in terms of struggle and limitation? No. Their words would reflect confidence, peace, generosity, and abundance. Begin to speak in this way, and you align your vibration with the very reality you wish to enter. Let your inner conversations be filled with certainty, not desire. When you talk to yourself, and you do all day long, let those quiet conversations reflect your new identity. Say to yourself, I always have more than enough. Money flows easily to me. I make decisions from a place of power. I am blessed beyond measure. You are not lying. Even when appearances contradict, your words persist. Speak from the end result, not from the temporary facts. Creation is not confirmed by what you see. It is confirmed by what you declare. You are not waiting for proof. You are giving life to truth. When challenges arise, do not fall back into old patterns of speech. Speak as the version of yourself who already knows how this story ends. You are not the character trying to win. You are the one who has already won. Let your tone, your energy, your words reflect that reality. Speak with calm authority. Speak with joy. Speak with unshakable belief. Every word you speak carves out your future. Use them wisely. Stop telling the story of struggle. Start telling the story of success. Let the language of wealth become natural to you. Not just in affirmations, but in your ordinary conversations, in your private thoughts, and in your daily choices. You don't need the world to validate you. You need only to remain true to the version of yourself that already exists in imagination. Speak from it, and life will follow your voice. The universe responds to identity, not effort. So speak now, not as someone who hopes to be a millionaire, but as one who already is. Manifestation is not a momentary flash of inspiration. It is a steady, deliberate act of faith. The difference between those who manifest their desires and those who fall short is not talent, luck, or external circumstances. It is persistence. Doubt delays, but persistence creates. You must remain loyal to your imagined reality until it becomes the only truth you recognize. To persist means to occupy the state of your fulfilled desire again and again, regardless of what your senses tell you. The world around you may scream the opposite of your vision. Your bank account might not yet reflect abundance. Circumstances may appear unchanged, but the persistent one does not waver. They continue to walk, speak, and feel as though their desire is already fat. This is the secret. What you consistently accept as true within must eventually become true. Without, the world cannot resist your sustained inner conviction. But most people give up too soon. They plant the seed of wealth in their imagination, but when results don't appear instantly, they dig it up with doubt. They let the visible override the invisible. And so they start over again and again, never allowing the new state to take root. But if you will persist quietly, confidently, without needing evidence, you will see your assumption harden into fact. It may come slowly at first, like a distant echo, a small shift here, a new opportunity there. But soon the momentum builds. Life begins to reshape itself around your dominant state. The outer world conforms to the inner blueprint. Persistence is not about force, it's about faithfulness. You are remaining faithful to your new identity, not because you are trying to make something happen, but because you know it already has. There is nothing to chase, only something to become. You live as the millionaire now. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now you buy in your imagination. You live in gratitude. You think from abundance. You do this again and again until it becomes natural, and when it becomes natural, it becomes real. With great manifestation begins with persistence. The dreamer holds to their dream through silence, through setbacks, through appearances. They trust the unseen more than the seen. They speak wealth into being even when no one else sees it. They are not moved by facts. They are anchored in truth, and that truth is simple. You already are what you desire to be. It is done. The only thing left is to remain in that knowing long enough for the outer world to catch up. You don't need to beg, hustle, or prove anything. You only need to persist. So hold the image, feel the feeling, speak the words, walk in the assumption and do it until there is no room for doubt, until it becomes effortless, until the inner becomes outer. Reality will bend, the world will conform, and what once lived only in your imagination will stand before you as fact. So now you know. The millionaire version of you is not waiting somewhere in the distance. It is here, now ready to be claimed. Your wealth does not begin with action, but with being. You become it in thought. You assume it in feeling. You express it in speech, and you remain faithful to it in imagination until the unseen becomes seen. Live in the end. Assume the feeling. Detach from the how. Speak from it. Persist without wavering. This is the divine formula. This is the path walked by those who understand that reality begins within, no matter where you are right now. Know this, your current circumstances are not the final word. You are the operant power. The authority over your life rests in your ability to feel a new state, to inhabit it, and to trust it until it becomes flesh. Dare to believe that what you imagine is more real than what you see. Dare to remain faithful to your inner vision in a world that insists you be realistic, and dare above all to feel. Now what you once reserved for the future, because when you feel it now, the future must obey. Thank you. Thank you for opening your heart to this message. Thank you for daring to dream bigger. And thank you for choosing right now to step into the most powerful truth of all. You already are what you desire to be. The rest is just catching up.